Howdy everybody in YouTube land. Well, by popular demand, I'm going to go ahead and do a video of this one. I can't do a repair video on this thing because I have to get approval from the owner first before I can do anything, obviously. So right now, the first part of this video is just going to be the troubleshooting process. Now, I will have to switch cameras, between cameras, because this device here that I'm using now does not have a tripod, so I can't film the troubleshooting process. So I'm gonna have to set up a little mini tripod and kind of have it angled down so I can walk through what the problem could potentially be. So for now, I'm going to pull the lid off and do a quick inspection of the unit. Well, now that I have the lid off, it's revealed a lot. For one, I can see we have a fried MOSFET right there, to say the least. So when it comes to troubleshooting, it's always sight, sound, and smell. In this case, we're going to do sight because what I've noticed is this thing is heavily water damaged. It's almost not worth economical repair at this point because of how bad it actually is. See, look, someone knocked up that capacitor, I can see. Heavy corrosion everywhere where the trunk just had a consistent leak, and it's bad. It's really bad. Crap built up in the corners. I don't even want to touch this thing, it's so bad. See the green corrosion on the transistor pins. It's bad. I might be able to fix this thing, I might not. This one's going to take some extensive troubleshooting, especially cleanup. It's going to be really bad to clean up, or fun to clean up. So, power supply stage, looks like we've got 4 MOSFETs here and 4 MOSFETs here, which forms a classic half bridge configuration between the 2 poles of the transformer. Looking at the capacitors, this thing was made in 2004, so it's fairly old. I mean, this thing's an old unit. I'd hate to say this, but it could almost be considered old school by now because it's already 2018. So it's already been 14 years since this thing has been manufactured. Yeah, I think that's right. So what I want to do now, I'm just going to do this by hand because it's going to be a very short, quick video, sadly. I'm going to get the meter set up, go in continuity mode, because first thing I'm going to do is check the MOSFETs. But actually, before I do that, the next thing I want to do is I want to look at these source resistors. And usually what you want to look for are ones that appear to be burned. The ones that appear to be burned are usually the shorted stage. Well, see here, we got one right here. Because this one looks good. That one looks good. And then you get to this one. That one's not looking so great. And you can see the heavy corrosion on the MOSFET, so that didn't help at all. This thing's horrible. I almost want to throw this thing in the dishwasher and just let it rip because it is bad. I mean, really bad. Let's see, rust in the screws. This thing's not going to be fun. So, anyways, now what I want to do is let's go ahead and, since this 2836P, you know what, this thing is actually a Class AB amplifier. This is not a Class D. There's no big output filter. So this thing is one big Class AB amplifier. We've got an FQA 28N15, which is the N channel FET. And then you got the 36P15s. And there's a couple empty unpopulated spots for increasing the power output. Now, if you guys ever wanted to, let's say if you wanted to modify this amplifier and give it a little more oomph, what you would do is you would change these out for IRFP 064s instead of what these originally are. They give a little bit more current output. You might want to increase these filters a little tiny bit, but more importantly, add in the missing parts. This will give you a little bit boost in power output. Probably not a whole lot, but it would help out a little bit. So you guys in the modding community, that's some tips for you. But if you're going to increase the capable amount of output in this stage here, the power supply has to comp for it. So just keep that in mind. If you want to increase the power output here, there's no such thing as free lunch, so you're going to have to do it over here as well. So just keep that in mind. Also, the other thing about switching power supplies is the rule of thumb is, let's say if you have one bad MOSFET, and I've seen this a lot when I was working on these, they would just change the one bad FET. Yeah, you might get away with that, but that's not recommended, because you want to change all of these MOSFETs equally, because you don't know how far the extent of damage is in the internal die. But not only that, you want to replace them with all the same transistor and all the transistors that are batch matched, because you want equal characteristics because of how they are in parallel and how they work in a circuit. You'll get uneven heating, and you'll get effects that are not desired. So if you want this circuit running at peak efficiency, you need to replace these with exact part numbers of your choosing and the exact batch. They got to come from the same tube. So just keep that in mind. Same thing with a Class D output stage. Class AB is not as critical, but if you want to get even bias, it can become critical. So anyway, let's measure this one, because this is the one where I saw the burnt emitter or source resistor. So let's go ahead and check this guy here. The resistor's not open, but the transistor's definitely dead. Yeah, so she's a goner. Let's measure this one. So yeah, this is the output stage that's affected. Alright, let's check this channel. Nope, that channel's good. Reason why I'm going across the resistor is because I can't get my probes close enough single-handedly, but it's fine. So yeah, so this is the blown stage. So to keep things, to properly rebuild this amp, I'd have to clean it up. I would have to fix this section here, and then I'd have to change out all of these transistors just to make sure this channel matches and is equal with this channel. So but that's a quick troubleshooting video. I will have to do an estimate to the guy and see what happens, and you may see a follow-up video on the repairs. So thank you for watching, and please feel free to leave a comment if you have one.